Hey, how's it going, buddy?
I didn't hear anything there for a second. Good. How are you?
Good, good. What's going on out there?
Not much, man. Been beautiful weather, that's for sure. Just been out trying to enjoy that.
Are the leaves changing yet?
Oh yeah, yeah. We're getting near peak, I would say. Probably
Wow,
within a week, we'll probably be like full peak. But yeah, it's beautiful.
I bet. Have you been out? Have you been out a lot getting some of that?
Yeah, I went out yesterday and shot for a little while, so that'll be going out pretty soon with a video. And went out probably about 4 or 5 days ago as well.
All
Yeah,
right.
trying to
All
get
right. So
out there.
for people that are going to be watching this, I got Dan from Envision. What is it? Envision.
Adventure.
I can't say that for
Good tongue twister.
Yeah, say that 5 times fast. Yeah. How do you pronounce your last name? I hate butchering people's last names.
It's Kleinow.
Kleinow. Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yep.
Ready to get started? We can try to maximize our time here.
Alrighty.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So, and I don't mean any offense by this at all, but you strike me as kind of like a free spirit, a wanderer, a nomad.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, no, I'm very nomadic. Um, if a lot of people have probably started watching my content since I started doing more photography focused stuff this summer, so they don't want to see like, oh, I've been in Colorado, but over the past 3.5 years, the most time I spent in one place was like 4 or 5 months.
Okay. So where are you from? Where have you been? And like you said, you're currently in Colorado.
Yeah, so I was born in upstate New York, but I actually moved to Virginia. We grew up in Northern Virginia, an hour south of Washington, D.C. So that was like until I was 17. And then lived in Florida for about 5, 6 years. And that's where my parents and stuff still live, Tampa Bay area.
Yeah, I think you told me that before. Yeah.
Yeah,
How long did you live down here?
it's like 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
I want to say it would have been 2012 until 2017.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I went to go traveling and never went back. That's more or less what happened there.
And your parents still live down here? Is that
Yeah, my parents, my sister, and my niece all live there still.
you come back to Florida to visit then occasionally, or?
Yeah, I normally get back once a year. I was back there after my most recent trip. I went back to visit in like February, and then obviously like COVID and everything hit, and I got like stuck there for like 2 months. And finally, I flew back to Colorado in the end of April. So been back here for about 5 months.
Okay.
I think.
So you lived in Central America for a while. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I lived in the Caribbean. So I lived in Puerto Rico for 2 separate times.
Wow.
First time within 6 months I was there. And then I left. I lived in the Dominican Republic for 4 months in 2018. And then I went back to Puerto Rico for an extra 3 months a couple of years ago. And then also I've traveled a bit. Colombia, went there for a couple of weeks last year. I was in Guatemala this winter for 2 months. And I was in Mexico for almost a month as well.
So is there anything specific that draws you to these places, or you just look at it on a map and say, that's where I want to go?
For me, I just enjoyed the culture there. It's totally different than the States, and also I was like practicing my Spanish and stuff, so that was fun. But yeah, it's just a different way. Like getting out of like the U.S. is one of the best decisions I've ever made. I think going and traveling and learning about different cultures and stuff really like completely changed me as a person.
Which of those countries did you enjoy the most?
Oh gosh, I really like Puerto Rico. Although it's part of the U.S., it does feel like a different country culturally. It's very much a Latin American country. So Puerto Rico for sure. I spent 9 months there in total, and then both Guatemala and Colombia are both amazing. Like definitely in my top two. But it's hard to choose because I've liked all of them, to be honest with you. I went to Europe as well for 6 weeks in the beginning of my travels, and that was amazing as well. So like, they've all been good, honestly, for different reasons. But yeah.
Are there any traveling through some of these Central America countries? I would think safety has got to be a concern from time to time.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt like you need to just be extra cautious, or?
Maybe extra cautious, but I've never had any incidents that were
Good.
Bad. So I mean, when people ask me that, I'm like, I don't know. I can't really tell you because I've never had anything bad happen. But
Good.
I mean, I've heard people like I've known people have gotten robbed, and it happens. But it's normally just like it's petty crime, mostly like cell phones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
I
more
don't
like,
mean to imply that that can't happen in
oh
Colorado
yeah,
or Florida or anywhere. I'm just saying, you're traveling, you're kind of, might, for a lot of people might be out of your comfort zone a little bit, but
it
maybe you're just
is
kind
for
of in
sure.
your element, so.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta be aware. You gotta be aware of what's your surroundings for sure, because sometimes if you're like crossing the border from Guatemala to Mexico back in February when I did that, that was a bit. It's just really chaotic. Like when you cross borders in between like Europe and stuff, they're so like organized and
Sure.
but then there in Central America, it's like the border towns are weird and it's like crazy and there's just people everywhere. So it's really interesting experience. It's cool, but it's just I think you got to be more aware of
Now,
your
I don't know a lot about
surroundings.
it, especially crossing over into Mexico. I've heard there's kind of a bottleneck of people trying to get through to get into
Mm-hmm.
Mexico on their way, towards our border. Is that correct? Or is that why like a large gathering of people waiting to be processed to get through, or?
I haven't been through the U.S. Mexico border, but really Guatemala Mexico border in the far south down there, just because there's literally a town at the border, so they're bored. Like you could just walk right through and no one would stop you. It's not like in the U.S. or like you couldn't get through. Like you could literally walk right through and no one would stop you and they wouldn't even really know. You just wouldn't get your passport stamped,
Yeah.
which means when you tried to leave, then you get like fined or something. But yeah, you just walk right through. They wouldn't even do anything. It was weird. It was really weird.
Well,
Interesting.
I feel like you're living the life that a lot of us like wish we could do. That's great.
Yeah.
Do it while you're young before you have all the things that tie you down to one place.
Oh yeah, I like that. I've been here for 5 months, and I feel like I already have like more stuff than I want. Which is crazy because I talk to my friends about it, my family, and it's like, yeah, but I have a car now. And it's like, who cares? It's like, yeah, but like I own a car. Like that's a lot. I'm not used to that. Like I didn't own my first car till I was 27, like this year,
Yeah.
and that's probably unusual for a lot of people. I
Well,
think
I'm sure it
in
is,
the
but I
U.S.,
mean,
but
that's how it happens. You start to accumulate things that tie you down to one place,
mm-hmm.
and then before you know it, you want to go. Yeah, I don't know. I'm envious. I'm
I
totally
mean,
envious.
yeah, it comes with its pros and cons. Like I wouldn't. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't probably do it any other way right now because it's really nice to just be able to have freedom to do something without having too much holding you down. Because once you get to that point where I don't know, have like a mortgage on a house and a car and all this stuff, it's like you can change it. There are people who do it, but it's a lot
Yeah,
more difficult. There's a lot
sure.
more barriers to entry at that point. So luckily, I started around it's like 23, 24, so I didn't have anything tie me down to Florida more or less, and that's why I left.
Right.
And I want to do my own thing. So
Well, good for you, man. Keep it going.
yeah.
So let's talk about your photography a little bit. When did you become interested in it? Are you currently doing it as a hobby, something on the side, or are you doing it professionally?
It's still more of a hobby, but with the eventual goal of making it more of a career.
Okay.
I would say, I mean, compared to probably some of the YouTubers we all watch, I'm a lot newer to this. I mean, I've been doing, I would say photography as like a hobby for probably 4.5 years, something like that.
Okay.
More seriously, probably for the past 2 years, where I just started just going out multiple times a week and just learn. That's how you learn. Like at that point, like your growth as like an artist, so to speak, goes up substantially when you just start putting the time in, more or less.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it went for me for the past couple of years.
I think that's it. I mean, like anything, practice makes perfect. Whether it's playing
Yeah.
music or painting or photography.
Yeah.
Okay. But with the intention of maybe doing this full time in the future, then.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, that would definitely be the goal. I mean, I love doing the video stuff too. So the whole thing with YouTube, like I actually was into the idea of doing video more first. Because I've been doing my YouTube channel for over 4 years now.
Yeah.
Making videos. And for a while it was just me doing vlogs of my travels and such. And then I just started into photography more. It was probably about 2 years ago when I was in Puerto Rico last time. I bought this Lumix G85 I've been using for a couple of years, and I bought it for my videos, but then I realized like, oh, it's so much more capable as a video camera than what I was using before, which is like a Sony point and shoot that I had used before that. So that kind of set me more. I'm getting more into the photography side of it instead of just doing it like casually. I was more of like actually going out just to shoot and going to places because I wanted to go there and photograph it. And so I think that kind of changed it for me a little bit.
Absolutely. So when you started out, was your first camera the Sony point and shoot, or what would you consider your first camera when you?
That would have been, it was a Sony RX100 Mark I, the first RX100.
Yeah.
So at that time, I mean, that would have been 4.5 years ago or something like that. So a lot of YouTubers were using stuff like that at the time. So I would watch different YouTubers, then they'd be using like the Sony RX100s or the Canon GX7 or whatever that thing's called. What is that thing? Anyway.
Yeah, but that Sony that you were using was kind of the original vlogging camera, right?
Yeah.
As far as Sony's products.
And then I had that one for like the first 7 months of my travels. And then when I was living in Puerto Rico, I fell in the ocean with it. Just fried. I was really bummed out. So then I bought another Sony point and shoot, like I think it was like an HX80 or something, which was more catered towards vlogging because it had like a flip-up LCD screen so you could see yourself and everything.
Yep.
So that was actually really good, and I used that one for like a year, I want to say.
That was ahead of its time with that screen.
Yeah, that like changed it for me because the first RX100 didn't have that, so I couldn't even see myself. It was kind of like vlogging blind, more or less. But then I bought the G85 just because I wanted like better audio and video quality for my videos, and then I realized it was like a really capable stills camera as well, which really impressed me. And it was only like it's like a $700 kit, which is amazing to me for what I could do with it for how affordable it was. It just honestly, it kind of shocked me.
And what you're using Fuji now, right?
No, Lumix.
Lumix, okay.
Yep, yeah. So
I try to keep track of what everybody's using. I just can't do it.
Everybody's using something different, exactly.
Okay. I'll be honest. I don't know anything about Lumix cameras other than what you've shown in your videos. Yeah,
I think I ended up getting the J5 just because again it was kind of designed as it's a hybrid stills photography camera. I mean a stills video camera, but it was definitely built I think for vlogging with the flip screen. I mean I have it right here actually. Just because it's like it has the flip out screen and everything. Yeah, okay. It does 4K. I mean, it is cropped 4K, but still, like for how affordable it is, that's pretty amazing. So I think, I don't know, I may have seen a couple of YouTubers that were using like the GH5 and stuff, which I couldn't afford obviously at the time. But I kind of feel like, okay, well, this looks good. So that's what I went with. That's kind of it. And then I more or less decided just to stick with it because I ended up getting the G9. This camera is not very wide, the focal length in that. Okay. But yeah, I got the G9 because they're both micro four thirds, and I can use the lenses are interchangeable between the two. So that obviously saves a lot of money to stick with one.
Heck yeah.
One thing. So it's more of like, oh, I like them, they work good, and why change when it works for me,
Exactly. Now I just did a video about what's in my camera bag, that whole kind of thing. So. Do you carry? I know you're hiking at high altitude stuff. Is your camera? Do you pack light when you go out?
Yeah, I try to pack as light as possible. Like, I bought like all my backpacking gear this summer because I was up here last summer, and I just would go out for like sunset hikes and stuff. But then I always be like, man, I wish I could just stay at night and do sunrise as well.
Right.
And so I left for 6 months last winter, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back. I'm like, I'll buy all the gear and do that. So. Yeah, I think my bag weighs like less than 30 pounds for sure with everything in it, which is really light for a backpack bag, especially with all the camera stuff too.
But that includes all of your hiking and camping type gear too? Okay.
Yeah, I pretty much went all ultra lightweight with that because I just didn't want to be weighed down, really. I mean, it's still a lot sometimes, honestly.
It makes sense. I mean, I don't know how high you're hiking, but it looks like you're at least 10 to 11, 12,000 feet, right?
A few of those ones. It might have been you that asked me, and one of the ones I put out in August. That was probably the highest, and I was right up around 12,000. Where I camped because it was above tree line.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's up there for sure.
Well, I mean, you're hiking amongst the 14ers, right?
Yeah, so I did the one Mount Holy Cross this summer with a couple friends, and we did it's called the Halo Ridge route, and there isn't a trail. It's just you follow the ridge, and it's all above 13,000 feet. And then the summit of Holy Cross. So there were like 4 13,000 foot peaks that we didn't do first, and then a Holy Cross was a 14er, which is like our local 14,000 foot peak in Eagle County, which is the county I live in Colorado by Vail.
So you're kind of in western,
I'm in
central,
north
western,
central.
north central.
Yeah,
Okay.
slightly. Yeah, because I guess we're just west of the Continental Divide. So yeah, but not quite on the western slope. So it's more like I would say north central,
Okay.
more or less. South of Steamboat Springs, though, so not like super far north, not up by the Wyoming border.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, yeah. Most of my experience is down in the southwest part, down in the San Juan Mountains.
Oh, which is amazing.
Love it. Like Ouray and Silverton.
Yeah, incredible.
I think the last time I went to Silverton, I took my grandfather. He must have been, I don't know, late 80s at the time. And, Silverton sits at right around 10,000 feet or 9,000 feet. It's pretty high. And we were just walking up or down the little main street there, and he got altitude sick and had to go sit in the car, So, I can't imagine. I mean, I've done some hiking higher than that, but I mean, carrying around 30 pounds is, it's quite a bit at that altitude.
Yeah, you were the one you said you did Blue Lakes after I posted that one. Yeah, so Blue Lakes was a struggle, honestly. That was pretty tough because it's up the whole way, and I did it with two other friends. Man, it's like a 2,500 foot elevation gain, and you're just going up the whole way. I'm just exhausted afterwards. And then we went for that sunrise the next morning. That was even worse. Like the hike up there above the first lake to the second lake was really, that was tough. Wow, well worth it, but it was tough.
I mean, the reward is amazing, though. It's just wow, stunning, so beautiful and clear and crisp. Especially this time of year, it's getting pretty cold. I would bet at that altitude. So, like, I think I put in the question, and I showed you that your photos seem very natural to me, just not like overly edited, like that. I'm trying to say this in a way that's not offensive, and I don't mean it to be offensive at all.
I won't take any offense.
like you see the scene in front of you, and it's a naturally beautiful scene, and then there's not a lot to do with, to edit. I mean, I'm sure you do some editing. It just doesn't look like you do a ton of editing. Am I right, or am I totally off?
Yeah, I try to keep it as minimal as possible. I think I talked about this in one of my videos. I don't even blend my images hardly ever. And it's not that I know obviously there's a reason why people do that, and I've done it before in the past, but I think it's all about, just for me, like photography is just all about like the whole experience of it and like what works for me. So I think just being kind of like a very minimalistic person in my normal life, I like to keep it as simple as possible as well. Yeah. So even when I do like bracketing on my camera and stuff, I don't do it to blend the images. I do it just so I have options to choose from with the exposures, more or less. Yeah. So I don't even open Photoshop to edit my photos or anything ever, unless to make my thumbnails for my videos, of course. So yeah, it's as simple as I possibly can make it, more or less, just because it's just easier that way.
I was telling my wife when we were watching a video, I was like, he's got to do something to ensure that he's getting the image the first time around, because the last thing he wants to do is get home and have to re-hike that to go get that same image again.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, sometimes you go out and it's just not good, which I think everyone who does photography knows that. Like, I think there are times I'll go out and for weeks I'll go out like multiple times a week and I feel like I get like almost like bangers every time.
Yeah.
And other times I'm just struggling. Like I go out for weeks and and it's okay, but nothing special. But I think you're always like kind of trying to like chase that like perfect image that just you're never going to get because it doesn't exist.
I saw that in your video, and I think that's something that we can all relate to, no matter where you live. I struggle with it all the time. So one of the things that I get interested in watching your videos is that it looks like sometimes you're out there hiking alone out in the like I said, the high elevations. Colorado has bears. I'll be the first to admit it. I've said it on numerous people's videos. I'm scared to death of bears. What do you do? What kind of safety precautions do you take? I mean, especially if you're out there alone, because
I mean, as far as like wildlife goes, I don't even like worry about it. I've never seen a bear here,
really,
which is amazing to me. I like the past couple of years, I'm really surprised. Like I tell people all the time, I've never seen a bear. Like the town I live in here, we have bears that are out every night, like they get in people's trash, and I haven't seen that bear. And I'm like, but I've seen a bunch of moose, which I've heard can be very aggressive. Again, I've never had an issue. I just kept my distance. And even I know mountain lions, I think, are the biggest thing I would worry about because I've heard people like they're aggressive. More so than bears because we don't have grizzlies here. And
Just black bears?
Yeah, black bears are pretty docile. Like they don't. I think the only time you'd want to worry about is if it was like a mother with cubs. That could be problematic. So as far as wildlife, no. I mean,
Okay.
my mom was telling me like, oh, you should get bear spray. It's like it's expensive, and I'm just not worried.
It is expensive.
So more about just I make sure I just plan a route beforehand, know where I'm going. I'm familiar with the area.
Yeah.
And I always bring my phone and just to make sure I have GPS so I can see where I'm at, but I've never gotten lost. It's kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of difficult to get lost unless you're just not experienced or I'm going to say not experienced. If you went somewhere you weren't familiar with the area, I could see where that might be a problem.
Sure. Yeah.
But the trails that I hike here are very worn in. Like they're fairly heavy, like well trafficked. You know, it's not like I haven't gone so far out that I was like days away from my car. You know, it's like I'm never more than 3 hours away generally.
What about something like, like I said, I used to live out there, and I remember hearing stories of hikers who, fell and hurt themselves. Do you take something like first aid type supplies, or? I
mean, honestly, I probably should have, but I didn't. To be honest with you, I mean, there's some of the places I hiked. I mean, you're out in the backcountry, but I mean, I think I only did three backcountry trips this year, and one of the times was Blue Lakes, which I went with people, and then even the other two other times I went by myself completely. I was in an area where there were so many people around that I was like, I just wasn't worried about it. I mean, I was camping up at a place called Missouri Lakes back in the end of July, and there was like 15 other tents up there. So I just kind of trying to find my own spot. But I mean, there were so many people that I was not the least bit concerned about that.
I guess that's a little deceiving because in your videos, you don't see anybody. Generally don't see anybody around. And I wonder, wow, is he out there by himself? I kind of always wonder how far off the main road you are and things like that. I mean, because it appears you're just like really out in the middle of nowhere, so high up in the mountains. Yeah,
I mean, it can feel like that. Like I generally try to make it feel like I am, but then I know, there's people like so close by, and that's kind of part of the thing. It goes so busy up here this summer, like busier than I've ever seen it. Which you think that maybe it wouldn't, but honestly, like you think due to like COVID and stuff that it wouldn't be, but I don't think that we suffered very much from the lack of tourism here. It's just ridiculously busy here.
See, I kind of feel like it would be busy just because people are not able to do things inside. Like the beaches were just absolutely jam-packed here this summer, and they generally aren't that packed in the summer because it's so hot.
It's so hot down there.
Yeah, but I commented on one of my videos that I'm having a hard time shooting what I normally shoot down at the beach because like entire families are coming out at like 6:30 in the morning now. Like,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. So things are starting to go back to normal a little bit. So maybe the crowds go away a little bit.
I kind of have like forgotten the summer anything was even happening because it felt so normal. And, I went to some of those trailheads this summer, and I just like again when I did Missouri Lakes, I got up there and I couldn't even park anywhere near the lot because there were so many cars.
Wow!
And it was not like that last summer, which is strange to me. Like it was busy. It's always busy up there, but not like that. It was just insane. It really was.
All right, so I think I just saw that your channel just recently passed 500 subscribers. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I'm sure it feels good, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. It's been a long time. A lot of trial and error to get to where I'm at. For sure.
Do you have any specific plans for your channel? Where, like, what's your vision for it? Where do you see it going? What, some things you like to accomplish with it?
I mean, I think it's just keep building on what I've been doing. I feel like the past few months were the best few months I've ever had with it, and that's in over 4 years. But I think it's just because I have more of a focus now with what I'm trying to do.
Yep.
And also, it helps that like there's a really good like community of other photographers on YouTube, which I didn't really know about until I started getting into it. And I think it was Adrian over in Australia. I think he commented on one of my videos early in the summer, and then I like found a bunch of other channels through his, and that's how I got like connected with all the other channels was through his. And I was like, wow, I didn't know this was a thing. So that was cool. And I'd never really found that doing like travel vlogs and stuff. For the couple of years I did that, I never really found the community of people that were out there doing a similar thing to me, which is interesting. So,
I think you're right on, because I think we all kind of follow the same basic, group of maybe 25, 30 people, right? And I don't know, it just seems like we're all, trying to help each other, build each other up a little bit. And that was kind of my idea for this, is to, it's not like I have a ton of viewers, but if I can get you out there to a few people that, didn't subscribe to you beforehand, if I can get you a couple out of it, it's just, and it's fun just to meet you, but the whole goal is just to get our stuff out there just a little bit more.
Yeah, exactly. That's the kind of thing of me. I'm like, I'm always down to chat with people. So when I saw you doing that, I'm like, okay, like I'm in. like it sounds great.
I'm glad you do. I mean, like you said, we got, people that we, kind of follow between Australia, United States, Canada with Jared up there, and several people over in the UK. And there's a couple that I follow over in Germany. So yeah, I'm trying to spread it around a little bit. So I'd like to go over and, after we're done with this interview, and maybe do a couple of the Australian guys, which would be really cool.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
the time zones are wonky. For sure, figuring that out.
I think we're 14 or 15 hours.
Yeah, I have a friend who lives in Cairns on the East Coast, and it's like she's like 16 hours ahead of me. So it's always like
it's like
figuring that out.
What is it? It's like midnight there.
Yeah.
No.
No, I think it's like
no. It's almost noon there, right? Noon there on Friday. That's crazy to me. Their day is half over there. The day ahead of us.
Yep.
Yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, trying to figure out the interview slot for that one will be fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
All right. So yeah, so you're grown, and any plans on travel outside of Colorado with your channel, or?
Yes, absolutely. No, I'm not going to be. I'm not planning on living here full time. I mean, just quick backstory. I pretty much plan on just coming back here. Once COVID hit and I was stuck in Florida for a while, I was like, okay, I was already planning on coming back to Colorado for this summer because I love summers up here.
Yeah.
But I was like hoping that, like, okay, I'll just go ride it out there for 6 months. Obviously, it's still going on, unfortunately. So now I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do for the winter. So I'm thinking I'll be staying in the U.S. for the winter, just because I don't think international travel is quite there yet.
Not yet.
But I'm definitely planning some more international trips in the future once it's possible. But just trying to figure out exactly what I want to do. I would like to get to the other side of the world at some point. So
absolutely, yeah. My wife and I are just so ready to travel. It seems like I have my best friend lives in England, so we go over there, quite often, at least once a year. So but it just doesn't look like like we look like we're starting to get a little bit better, and they're headed the wrong direction. I think they recorded the most single cases they've recorded in one day, and
it's just all over the place. Like, it changes every couple of weeks. So
yeah,
you just never really know what's going to happen at this point. It seems like. So I don't know. I'm just gonna hopefully by next spring, in another 5-6 months, I'll be able to take the photography on the road.
Yeah, all right. Looking forward to that.
Or on the plane, because I'll be flying somewhere else.
Although I think we're all perfectly happy with watching your Colorado stuff. So if you get stuck there for a while, I think we're all pretty good with that.
I mean, Colorado's great. I just don't like the winters. So
they're tough.
They're really hard, and everything's you can't get into the backcountry in the wintertime like that because there's 6 feet of snow.
Oh, sure.
So I'm trying to get out of the brutal winters, which I'm working on at the moment. I don't have a plan set yet, but hopefully in the next month I will know what I'm doing for the winter. But it should be somewhere beautiful.
There you go. All right, so we're kind of running out of time here. So where else can people go to view your photography? What are your Instagram, social media sites? I know you have.
Other than YouTube, it would be Instagram at Envision Adventure, and then also my website, envisionadventure.net. And that's it. I'm not on any other social media, so those are the 2 locations.
Let me tell you, you're not missing anything.
No, it's intentional to stay away from the rest of them.
No, I agree. I'll put those links down in the description for anybody who wants to go visit. I was on your website, I think, yesterday. There's just some beautiful, beautiful work on there.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, appreciate it. I put a lot of work into that.
All right. Hey, Dan, thanks so much for coming on tonight. It was really good to meet you this way. I guess
Yeah,
this is the way people meet each other nowadays.
Yeah, right.
I'm okay with it for a while.
Yeah.
You know, this whole Zoom thing has kind of enabled me to meet people I probably never would have, you know, whether we're together or not. You know, it's just been great to get together and talk to people. It's been great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, cool. So, do you have a day that you normally put out videos, or is just whenever you get them ready?
I mean, I was doing Thursday and Sunday for a while, and then I kind of fell off the train a little bit because I just thought there's something going on. But now I've been doing kind of Thursday, but then today I missed it, so I have one probably coming out tomorrow, which is Friday, and I have a few in the line to come out the next week or two, hopefully. But yeah, that's kind of where that's at right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna get this video of you. I'm gonna try to get it up. I can't get it tomorrow because I got Howard Grill.
Oh, okay.
Do you follow Howard?
I don't know. I think I do, honestly.
Yeah, take a look tomorrow.
Check that out.
Yeah, he's I really didn't know this the last couple of days. He is a cardiologist, semi-retired, that just has an absolute passion for photography, and he's outstanding at it too. So
yeah, that's awesome.
Just super smart guy. Talking to him, I was like,
yeah.
wow, you know. So I'm gonna try to get this video of you up on Friday the 2nd. Okay.
Okay, so that'd be next week. Yeah.
Yep.
Perfect.
Yep.
Sounds
Barring
good.
any technical difficulties, yeah, I'll get that out there. All
Well,
right,
yeah,
Dan.
cool. I look forward to seeing the rest of them. It's a cool series.
I appreciate it. I'm glad. I'm getting a lot of good feedback, so I'm glad people are really enjoying it.
Yeah, it's great.
All right, Dan. Thank you so much. Appreciate you coming on.
Thanks.
All right, man. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
You too.